The skies burned with the acrid stench of ozone and despair as humanity's last bastions flickered like dying embers against a dark, relentless tide. In the wake of the previous battle where hope had clashed with annihilation and the cryptic promise of deeper darkness had been etched into the minds of survivors, the world was now poised on the razor's edge between oblivion and defiance. The horizon, once a familiar expanse of blue, was now a roiling canvas of smoke, fire, and shattered dreams. In this twilight of extinction, every heartbeat, every cry, and every desperate act of resistance mattered more than the stars above. Captain Jackson Cole, his uniform torn and stained by the relentless struggle, stood amid the rubble of what had once been a thriving metropolis. The echoes of his past command still reverberated in the fractured silence as he scanned the horizon with eyes that had witnessed too much loss. Each scar on his face was a testament to battles fought in the name of survival. Every breath was a pledge to his comrades and to the innocent souls whose voices had been silenced by the invasion. With grim determination, he gripped his weapon, a battered relic of human ingenuity, and vowed that Earth would not fall without a final, defiant stand. In the hidden corridors of a repurposed underground facility, Dr. Ilara Cross and her team of scientists worked feverishly, their minds straining against the weight of forbidden knowledge. Once revered for her brilliant mind, Ilara now wrestled with a legacy of betrayal and redemption. The alien technology they had salvaged from the fallen invaders pulsed with an eerie, sentient glow as she analyzed its secrets. Her hands moved with both precision and trepidation over holographic schematics that revealed a disturbing truth: the aliens had not come solely to conquer, but to reshape life itself on Earth. Their invasion was only the overture to a far more sinister plan, one that sought to twist the very fabric of existence and turn humanity into a cog in a cosmic machine of domination. Alongside the scientists were elite soldiers, battle-hardened and unyielding in spirit. Sergeant Maya Jensen, her eyes blazing with the fire of countless lost comrades, coordinated a network of resistance fighters who had refused to retreat in the face of overwhelming odds. Every order she issued was laced with the raw urgency of survival. Her voice, steady despite the tremors of fear that coursed through her body, rallied those who believed that even in the darkest night, a single spark of courage could ignite a revolution. In the midst of chaos, she had become a beacon of hope, a reminder that the human spirit could endure even the most relentless storms. Beyond the military and scientific echelons, a diverse cadre of civilians had emerged from the ashes of their shattered lives. Ordinary people, farmers, teachers, laborers, and parents had been thrust into roles as fierce defenders of their home. They had banded together, forging alliances born of necessity and nurtured by a shared desire to preserve the remnants of humanity's legacy. In makeshift bunkers and hidden safe houses, they tended to the wounded and the grieving while mustering every ounce of resolve to fight back. Their resourcefulness and unbreakable bonds formed the backbone of the resistance. They were the silent heroes whose determination to survive transcended fear and despair. The first encounter with the invaders had been cataclysmic. When the alien armada, the black ships, had descended from the heavens, their arrival had been heralded by an unearthly symphony of shrieking metal and roaring energy. The initial assault had been swift and brutal. Cities had crumbled under the onslaught, and entire populations had been reduced to ashes in the blink of an eye. For those who survived, the image of the invaders was seared into memory, a nightmarish tableau of spindly, insectoid war machines and colossal ships that blotted out the sun. It was in that crucible of terror that the elite soldiers, scientists, and civilians had first united in defiance. They had fought on barricaded streets, in the shadowed ruins of once great monuments, and in the narrow passageways of underground shelters. Every battle was a desperate bid to reclaim a world that seemed determined to be lost. The invaders' tactics were as enigmatic as they were devastating. Their technology, an unfathomable blend of organic and mechanical design, allowed them to adapt with alarming speed to human countermeasures. In one harrowing skirmish on the outskirts of a once bustling urban center, Captain Cole and his squad had come face to face with a new breed of alien assault craft. These creatures, their sinewy forms shifting and undulating with a disquieting grace, emerged from fissures in the earth as if summoned by the planet's very anguish. Their piercing shrieks and searing energy beams had torn through the ranks of the resistance, forcing even the most stalwart fighters to question whether humanity's final stand was doomed to fail. Yet even as despair threatened to consume them, the united front of soldiers and civilians had surged forward, each man and woman willing to sacrifice everything for a sliver of hope. In the chaos of battle, alliances were forged in the crucible of shared suffering. Sergeant Maya Jensen's tactical brilliance had saved countless lives on the front lines, where she deftly maneuvered her squad through carnage and collapsing structures. Her tactical acumen was matched only by her unyielding compassion, a compassion that drove her to protect the innocents caught in the crossfire. Beside her, Corporal Noah Harris, a young recruit whose eyes had seen horrors beyond his years, had found the courage to stand tall despite overwhelming odds. His journey from fearful novice to determined warrior was a beacon of the resilience that defined the human spirit. Amid the turmoil, Dr. Ilara Cross's laboratory had become both a sanctuary and a crucible for innovation. In the flickering glow of malfunctioning monitors and scattered components, she and her team had discovered a potential vulnerability in the alien network. It was a whisper of hope, a possibility that, with enough ingenuity, the invaders' advanced systems could be turned against them. Every breakthrough came at a tremendous cost, however, as the relentless pace of the invasion left little time for doubt or second-guessing. In the subterranean depths of the Resistance's secret outpost, the scientists pored over encrypted data and decoded the alien language, unraveling clues that hinted at a hidden agenda far more insidious than mere conquest. As the battle raged on above, the civilians emerged as unexpected heroes. In a once thriving neighborhood now reduced to rubble, a group of ordinary citizens had taken up arms and reclaimed a small block as their sanctuary. Their leader, a pragmatic schoolteacher named Marisol Vega, had rallied her neighbors with a stirring plea to fight not only for survival, but for the memory of all that had been lost. With salvaged weapons and improvised defenses, they had repelled a vicious patrol of alien drones, their actions a testament to the power of unity in the face of overwhelming despair. Their story was interwoven with that of every corner of the battered planet, a tapestry of loss and hope, of despair and defiance. In the early hours of that fateful day, as the alien armada's dark silhouettes loomed against a blood-red sky, the Resistance prepared for what many believed would be the final battle. The black ships, colossal and malevolent, had already decimated entire cities and left behind landscapes that bore the scars of cosmic warfare. Yet even as the full scale of the invasion became apparent, whispers of a deeper, more sinister threat began to circulate among the survivors. Reports of strange signals emanating from the heart of the alien fleet, encrypted messages that defied human comprehension, fueled the growing unease. It was as if the invaders were mere harbingers, a vanguard for something far more catastrophic that lurked in the cold void beyond the stars. Captain Cole recalled that moment vividly, the first time he had glimpsed the true extent of the enemy's power. In a skirmish on the outskirts of a ruined metropolis, his squad had been ambushed by an enemy force unlike any they had faced before. The alien machines, their forms twisted and pulsating with an inner light, had descended from the heavens in a coordinated barrage. The ground trembled as if in response to some unfathomable command, and for a heart-stopping instant, time itself seemed to slow. Amid the chaos, a towering figure emerged from the wreckage, a creature that defied classification, its form a grotesque amalgam of organic sinew and advanced machinery. Its eyes, if they could be called that, glowed with an eerie luminescence that suggested an intelligence far beyond mere instinct. That encounter had left an indelible mark on Cole's soul, a realization that the true enemy might not be the invaders they had come to know, but something even darker, something that had manipulated events from the shadows. In the days that followed, the remnants of humanity scrambled to regroup and forge a new strategy. The Resistance's command center, hidden deep beneath the shattered remains of an ancient cathedral, became a hive of frantic activity. Maps were redrawn with hastily scrawled annotations, and intercepted alien transmissions were analyzed with a mixture of dread and determination. The leadership knew that the battle they were about to face would be unlike any before it, a final stand against a foe that seemed to embody the very essence of cosmic terror. As the sun rose on a day that promised both a glimmer of hope and the specter of oblivion, the various factions of the Resistance converged upon a critical stronghold. This outpost, once a bustling hub of human enterprise, had been transformed into a fortress, a labyrinth of barricades, hidden passages, and makeshift defenses manned by those who refused to surrender. In the command center, Captain Cole convened a council of war, joined by Sergeant Jensen, Corporal Harris, Dr. Cross, and representatives of the civilian resistance. Their faces, etched with the burdens of loss and the weight of impending battle, reflected a unified determination. they had all borne witness to the devastation wrought by the black ships and the chilling mystery of the deeper threat that now hovered on the brink of revelation. In that somber meeting, as voices rose in a chorus of urgency and strategy, a critical piece of intelligence was unveiled. Dr. Cross, her eyes alight with a mix of hope and apprehension, presented her latest findings, a series of encrypted transmissions intercepted from the heart of the alien fleet. The data, painstakingly deciphered in the dim glow of the underground lab, painted a picture that was as terrifying as it was profound. The invaders were not acting on blind conquest. They were following a meticulously orchestrated plan, one that had been in motion for eons. The transmissions hinted at a cosmic network, a web of control that spanned galaxies and bound entire civilizations to a singular, malevolent purpose. More alarming still was the discovery that the alien forces appeared to be preparing for a final, cataclysmic event, a reckoning that could extinguish not only Earth but countless worlds beyond. As the Council absorbed the magnitude of this revelation, a palpable tension filled the room. Captain Cole's gravelly voice cut through the murmurs, his tone resolute despite the gravity of the situation. He outlined a daring plan to exploit a discovered vulnerability within the alien network, a plan that would require not only the combined might of every soldier and scientist present, but also the unyielding courage of every civilian who had taken up arms. The strategy was fraught with risk, a coordinated assault on the central command node of the invaders, a daring raid that would force the enemy to reveal its true nature. In the proposed assault, the resistance would employ every resource at their disposal, from retrofitted human weaponry to repurposed alien devices, to create a diversion that could destabilize the enemy's communications and, by extension, their ability to coordinate the final assault. Even as the plan took shape, doubts gnawed at the edges of every mind in that room. Every life lost, every shattered dream, had etched a reminder of the brutal cost of defiance. Yet there was no room for hesitation. The message was clear: humanity was on the brink of extinction, and every passing moment brought the true darkness closer, a darkness that promised not only defeat but complete annihilation. As preparations for the assault began, the various threads of the resistance were set into motion. Elite squads, trained in unconventional warfare and led by veterans of countless battles, mobilized under the cover of night. In abandoned factories and repurposed military installations, engineers and hackers raced against time to reconfigure alien technology into weapons of liberation. In quiet moments between firefights and covert operations, civilians steeled themselves for the unimaginable sacrifices that lay ahead. Their resolve was a fragile shield against the encroaching chaos, a collective belief that even in the face of overwhelming odds, humanity's spirit could ignite a spark that would light the path to salvation. The assault itself was launched at dawn, when the light of the rising sun fought a losing battle against the pervasive gloom. As Captain Cole led his team through labyrinthine corridors of a ruined research facility repurposed as the enemy's forward command post, every step was a testament to human tenacity. The facility, a stark blend of alien architecture and human improvisation, pulsed with an otherworldly energy that resonated with the dark promise of the invaders' plan. Inside its echoing halls, the resistance encountered the first tangible sign of the enemy's hidden agenda, a series of colossal, arcane symbols etched into walls of pulsating metal, illuminated by a sickly green glow. These symbols, ancient and inscrutable, seemed to hum with a power that defied understanding. They served as a grim reminder that the invaders' purpose was not mere conquest but the unleashing of forces that had slumbered for millennia. In a series of harrowing skirmishes, the elite soldiers fought tooth and nail against waves of alien defenders. Each confrontation was a brutal dance of death and survival, a test of wills where every bullet fired and every energy blast exchanged was laden with the hope of a future free from tyranny. Amid the clamor of battle, Sergeant Maya Jensen's tactical acumen shone brightly as she maneuvered her squad through enemy lines, her every command precise and decisive. Corporal Noah Harris, his youthful determination hardened by loss, became a living embodiment of defiance, pushing forward even as the odds stacked inexorably against him. And all the while, the specter of the unknown, the deeper, more sinister threat hinted at in those encrypted transmissions, loomed over every encounter like a dark omen. At the heart of the enemy's stronghold, the resistance finally confronted the central command node. It was a chamber of overwhelming scale, its architecture a fusion of biomechanical monstrosity and cosmic artistry. The air inside vibrated with an electric intensity that set nerves on edge. Dr. Ilara Cross, whose knowledge of alien systems had become indispensable, led a small contingent into the chamber. Every step forward was measured, every heartbeat amplified by the knowledge that this confrontation could decide the fate of not just Earth, but perhaps the entire galaxy. The command node pulsed with a rhythmic, almost hypnotic beta heartbeat that seemed to echo the dark pulse of the alien network. In its center, a colossal crystalline structure radiated an unholy light, its facets shifting in a pattern that defied mortal comprehension. As the scientists began interfacing with the node, a surge of information flooded their minds, a torrent of images and data that spoke of interstellar empires, ancient betrayals, and the inexorable march of a cosmic force that sought to reshape all life. Just as a tenuous breakthrough was achieved and the first signs of the enemy's network began to unravel, a shattering sound reverberated through the chamber, a deep, resonant pulse that shook the very foundations of the stronghold. The crystalline structure fractured, sending shards of shimmering light cascading through the air like deadly rain. In that fateful moment, a hidden contingency was activated. The command node, it turned out, was not merely a conduit for control, but a sealed vault for a far more ominous secret. As the shards fell, a vast, nightmarish figure emerged from the heart of the node, a being of such immense, unnameable power that it seemed to warp reality around it. Its form was fluid and ever-changing, a swirling maelstrom of darkness and malevolence that defied the confines of mortal language. The creature's eyes, if they could be called that, burned with an ancient fury that threatened to consume all hope. For an agonizing moment, time seemed to suspend as every soul present felt the weight of destiny bearing down upon them. The creature's presence was a final, horrifying revelation. The invaders had been but the harbingers, and now the true nightmare was unleashed upon the battlefield. In that heart-stopping instant, Captain Cole's voice rang out above the chaos, a beacon of defiance even as his heart trembled with the magnitude of the revelation. "Hold the line!" he commanded, his words laced with the raw determination of a man who had stared into the abyss and refused to yield. The elite soldiers rallied, their weapons raised in a unified, desperate act of resistance. Amid the cascading shards and the roiling energy of the creature, every person, soldier, scientist, and civilian alike felt the crushing realization that this was not the end, but merely the threshold of an even greater conflict. As the creature advanced, its every movement distorted the fabric of space, the ground beneath its shifting form splintering into jagged fissures. Dr. Cross's team frantically scrambled to re-establish control of the node, their hands trembling as they input commands in a last-ditch effort to contain the unleashed horror. Sergeant Jensen's squad formed a protective perimeter around the command center, every man and woman understanding that they were fighting for the future of a world teetering on the brink of cosmic annihilation. The air was thick with tension, every second stretching into an eternity of anticipation and dread. It was then that the creature's voice, an otherworldly, resonant sound that echoed through the corridors of the mind, spoke a single, chilling phrase that froze the blood in every vein: "This is only the beginning." In that final, breathless moment, as the forces of humanity prepared to make their final stand against an enemy born of the stars, a deeper truth emerged from the chaos. The creature, the true architect of the alien invasion, was not an isolated aberration. It was a manifestation of an ancient, cosmic design, a design that would reshape the destiny of every living being in its wake. The resistance, battered and blooded but unbowed, faced the dawning realization that the fight for survival was only the opening chapter in a war that spanned the very fabric of existence. As the creature's shadow stretched across the command center, blurring the line between nightmare and reality, Captain Cole locked eyes with Sergeant Jensen and Dr. Cross, each of them silently acknowledging the enormity of the challenge ahead. In that charged silence, amid the clamor of collapsing structures and the relentless pulse of alien energy, humanity's final hope flickered uncertainly like a solitary flame in an endless night. The black ship had delivered its brutal lesson, and as the creature's malignant presence loomed closer, every survivor braced for the inevitable onslaught. The fate of Earth and perhaps the entire galaxy rested on the edge of a knife, poised between the valor of those who fought with every fiber of their being and the unfathomable darkness that had just been unleashed. In that moment, as the tide of battle swelled with both despair and unyielding determination, the resistance prepared to confront the ultimate question: could the indomitable spirit of humanity defy not only the alien invaders but the cosmic horror that now threatened to engulf them all? Just as the first beam of defiant counterfire began to surge from the reconfigured satellite weapon, redirecting its lethal energy toward the enemy ranks, the creature's form shimmered with an intensity that defied description. A surge of alien power rippled through the chamber, and in the span of a heartbeat, the very ground quaked as if in protest. The final moment before oblivion had arrived, a moment when every choice, every sacrifice, would echo through the annals of history. And as the creature's voice reverberated one last time with the promise of an unfathomable reckoning, a piercing alarm shattered the fragile hope that had just begun to bloom among the defenders. In that heart-stopping instant, the command center's screens flickered to life, displaying a series of cryptic coordinates and a chilling message that hinted at an even darker threat waiting beyond the horizon. The message pulsed in sync with the creature's malignant rhythm: "Beyond the stars, your reckoning awaits." In that final, suspended breath, as chaos and resolve collided in a maelstrom of destiny, the fate of humanity balanced on a knife's edge. The resistance braced for a battle that would either seal their doom or forge a future from the remnants of their shattered world. And as the looming specter of the true enemy cast its ominous shadow over every soul present, a single, unanswerable question hung in the air, a question that would dictate the course of all that was to come. Could the light of humanity withstand the encroaching darkness, or was this the final hour of a species destined to be forgotten in the cosmic void?